God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Stugotz.
We have a big football weekend upon us. Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. There are big games all over the college and NFL landscape this weekend. I am very excited. Chris Simms going to join us. SPAGS was in studio. He'll join us on the TV side. Billy, this is very exciting, man. We got big games this weekend.
We do, and you know what the exciting thing is about the big games? Well, it's actually a nerve-wracking thing. By the way, God Bless Football is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Here's the thing about the big games, Stugotz.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy weekend. We're going to be watching a lot of big games, a lot of ranked matchups on Saturday. And then Sunday's NFL slate is as good as it's been in a long time. There's huge games. Texans, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, Buccaneers on Monday night. Sunday Night Football now has stakes because of trades that are being made and quarterback changes that are in place. Here's the thing that I like about it is that we're probably going to get some great football games. We're probably going to get some great performances. Here's the thing that I don't like about it, Stugotz.
All right. Interesting.
For our fantasy contest,
yes,
which is also presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, please drink responsibly. The 1 o'clock slate and the 4 o'clock slate, we have decisions to make. And where I normally know these are the guys I'm going to go to because I know there's going to be points and this is going to be a lopsided win. This should be easy for me. These good games, I don't know how they're going to go. So I don't know who I should take on which team. Should I avoid the big games altogether? I have decisions to make. Luckily, I still have until Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to make those decisions. But I need to start doing some thinking because last week I was doing good. I had Jordan Love. It was looking great.
Yeah.
And then I fell to 495th place. So things really fell off.
Well, you're starting to realize, Billy, these are marathons, not a sprint. Okay. It's
correct.
not, having the hot 1 o'clock quarterback does not ensure victory for your fantasy team. You got to spread it out a little bit, Look, if I have like all 1 o'clock games and I have like 2 guys left at 4 o'clock, right? I
know I've lost. I just know before anything's even scored, I know that I've lost because I'm not going to get the points at 1 o'clock. But we're not here to talk about this. Like we talked about it, presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly.
You brought
we need to talk about football. Yeah. Right. Stugotz, I have a very exciting treat for the audience on the audio side
that
you're not privy to.
Really? Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Tell me more.
On the video side, you're going to get Chris Simms. You're going to get SPAGS. On the audio side, you're going to get Chris Simms. You're going to get Stugotz as well on both sides. And then on the video side, we had a very special guest in our pick segment. And I'm going to tell you who it was because this might be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood right now.
Really?
And you guys don't know this, but his star is rising, and it's only going to get bigger. And we got him nice and early. Stugotz, during the pick segment today, we got the actor who plays Rob Gronkowski in the show about the Patriots.
No way.
We did. And if you want to know something,
yes,
here's why he's a big star and his star is rising. He also plays Travis Kelce in the upcoming Hallmark Channel Christmas movie about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So we got both Gronk and Travis Kelce today making picks for us.
Wow. I mean, this
He's
guy
also an underwear model.
He is an underwear model.
Amazing. Yeah. He's cornered the market on playing current and former NFL players. I mean, he's
tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I missed it. I'm very upset about this.
Yeah, it was a big get for us this week. I mean, the way things go, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back next week. But yeah, also, Stugotz, things got a little frosty between me and Mike Rollis at one point. But you're gonna have to listen.
Really?
You're gonna have to listen.
You kind of begged it to get
Billy.
frosty,
He's a professional wrestler. He'll kick your ass, man.
Yeah, we never see him in person, though, so I got a little frisky. So you're going to have to listen for that if you want to see what happened there.
Okay. You mean I'm going to have to listen to that, right? Okay.
Well, you haven't missed it yet. You can still check it out.
All right, I will check it out. Audience, check it out. Chris Simms, next. PFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America, Sunday Night Football. He's doing college as well. We'll get to the big game for Texas this weekend. But Chris, I am interested here in your thoughts on on what's going on with the Steelers and Russell Wilson, because that is a fascinating thing going on where Justin Fields has played pretty good. The team is off to a 4-2 start, but I think there's more upside with Russell Wilson, and I think Mike Tomlin knows that, and so he wants to see what he has there, right?
I think so. I think you're kind of saying it right? It's 4-2, but there's with some bright spots with Justin Fields early in the year where you're going, oh, hey, he's getting better and better, but it's hit a little bit of a lull the last few weeks. I'm not sure if he doesn't get the interception called back with the roughing the passer penalty last week if we didn't see Russell Wilson come in shortly after that.
Yeah.
He got lucky. They went and scored the touchdown. But I think like what you say, what you see, what I see, the Steelers are seeing the same thing. The offense is underwhelming. They need a little bit of a jump start. Russell Wilson, he is a better passer than Justin Fields. So we'll see if he can make some more plays along those lines. I don't think it's going to be easy. And I do think the Jets defense will be pissed off after the way they played last week. That was probably their worst showing of the year in that football game. I expect them to bounce back, right? And, hey, like with that and the way Mikey A and the Jets offense looked, I was encouraged by last week. I know they're 2-4, but I wouldn't count them out. I'm picking them to beat the Steelers this week. I don't care if Russell Wilson's in there or not. It's still like, hey, he hasn't played football in a while, and there ain't that many good things on that Steelers offense to root for. It feels a lot like the Steelers teams of the last few years. What is really great about the Steelers team? They beat the teams they're supposed to. We're getting towards the time of the year where I'm going to start rooting against them because I don't want to see them and their boring-ass style of play in the playoffs and a boring-ass lopsided wild card game where they get into it and lose 30-12.
Yeah. What'd you see from the Jets that was encouraging?
Well, I mean, one, they did motions and shifts like most good offenses in football. Holy balls, Batman. So that was the first thing.
Yes.
Like, I mean, when they did that early in the game, I was like, oh my gosh, what is about to happen here? Holy crap. But yeah, more aggressive down the field, saw more schemes running the football, definitely. More formations, a little bit better of the tying plays together that I talk about all the time instead of just being in the shotgun and sitting there and right? It's like, hey, here's one play. Okay, we run another play. Now it looks like the play we just ran 2 plays ago. Oh, but it's got a little different wrinkle to it or whatever. I saw some of that stuff. I like the flow of the offense, and I think Davante Adams' energy bump, whatever you want to call it, I think will be real for their football team. I'm still not counting the Jets out. I know they're 2-4, but I think they're going to right this ship and still have a say in the AFC and be a player in this whole thing.
Which team improved more this past week? Was it the Jets or the Bills?
Ooh, I think the Bills needed it more than the Jets, right? I think even, like I said, even without Davante Adams, I was encouraged by what we saw on Monday night. The Bills, I just kept going, and I'm happy to hear Brandon Beane saying we might make more moves and all that. You know, you guys know me. I've been saying this for the last 3-4 years with Buffalo. They got to have more difference-making players. Their offense it's going down the route again of, oh, yeah, we ran the ball a little bit against the Jets, and, oh, Josh Allen's just got to make some amazing plays, and that's it. There's no go-to guy in the pass game. Like Dalton Kincaid, a tight end, yes, but it's like it's hard to make the tight end the go-to guy all the time in every scheme and everything else there. So Amari Cooper, he can get open versus man. He's a great route runner. He could beat you deep over the top, or he could do the underneath stuff. They needed a guy like that because Keon Coleman ain't there. Khalil Shakir's really a slot guy. That's where you want him. Mac Hollins is really just a go-route guy. Now they got a guy that they can base the meat and potatoes of their offense around in Amari Cooper. I think that was much needed there in Buffalo.
The Bills definitely got better, but I mean, what do we do with the Browns? Like, how do we fix this team? Like, now they're just eliminating pieces for Kevin Stefanski to use.
No, I mean, I don't feel anything for the Browns. The Browns, I mean, I think they're looking at it going, hey, our offense sucks. Who cares if we go from suck to a little suckier? I mean, who really cares? So I don't really see,
they're fans.
Like, it is. It's bad. The quarterback's bad. And as we said, the last few weeks, if it's not for that contract, he's benched. Every other quarterback in football is benched. We know that. He doesn't give them the best chance to win. There's politics being played here because of that contract and all they traded for him to Houston to get him. So, yeah, I think it's really more of a cautionary, or what I want to say, a sign from Cleveland to go, they're pretty much telling you, it's over for this year. And if you want to blow us out of the water for some players on our team and give us some crazy assets, we'll be sellers. I would think they're going to continue to be sellers. Maybe one of these 3 good corners they got gets traded somewhere. And I know people are talking about Myles Garrett. I don't think that happens. Certainly not. But no, I mean, the Browns, I think, are pretty much telling you they're in the starting phase of building for the future rather than trying to salvage this season right now.
With Deshaun Watson, though.
Right.
With Deshaun Watson right now.
Soon it's just going to be Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I don't know where this whole thing goes with him and the future and all that. But, again, last week was sucky-ducky once again from the Browns offense against the Eagles team that let them hang around forever in that one.
Chris, me and Billy were discussing this earlier in the week. I'm so impressed with Baker Mayfield. I'm not certain Baker Mayfield shouldn't be the NFL MVP, or at least on track to be the NFL MVP. What do you think?
I don't think you're crazy there. Again, I mean, stats, look, highlights, record of the team, they're all worthy of being in that conversation. He's leading the NFL in passing yards. He deserves to be in that combo. I think it'll be a great game on Monday night. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair because, oddly enough, the Ravens and the Buccaneers, 2 teams you kind of associate with defense, let me just tell you, neither one of their defenses is very good. Right. They're not. And they really can't stop the pass. That's the one thing. So I think you're going to see fireworks in this game, too, between both quarterbacks who are MVP candidates once again. Lamar, you're crazy if you don't say he's an MVP candidate. 100%. But, yes, I that Tampa offense with the 2 running backs they got, Sean Tucker's real deal Holyfield. Him along with White, and then, of course, the weapons in the pass game and Baker being an aggressive thrower down the field and the strong arm. I hear you there, Stugotz. I don't think you're crazy with that thought at all.
What'd you see out of Drake May?
Saw some good, right? He does have a strong arm. He is a good athlete. Right. I also think there would be some things that I'd go a little concerning. Does he miss some throws that I just go, wow, is that egregiously missed? Yes. Right. But I think there was more positives than negatives.
Yes.
The thing that you see from him is again, feet all over the place, moving in the pocket for no reason, watching the rush a little bit. He takes some crazy hits because he doesn't know what NFL open is yet, where it's like, hey, no, if a guy's open by this much, he's open in the NFL. That's not covered, and you got to throw that ball. And, he turns down some throws like that and then goes on to other guys, and it's like, no, nobody's open. The first read was there. That was the play to be had there. So I think a good start. Some of the concerns I talked about coming out in the draft are still there, but I think it was the right thing to let him play, move on, and we'll see what they can do. And hopefully he can get better in some of those areas I talked about.
Chris, what can you say about the Cowboys? I mean, that was embarrassing last week. They're an embarrassment. Jerry Jones going after local radio hosts. The whole thing is a show.
They're a team there, I almost feel like what I said about the Steelers a little bit. It's like they're going to beat the teams they're supposed to beat and the lower class teams of football, but they're nowhere near the class of the top teams in the sport. Nowhere near it. I mean, come on. The Ravens, there was the onside kick, and the Ravens messing up a little at the end of the game. The Ravens probably should have won that game by 30. And then, yes, last week, that's good teams don't lose 47-8 or 9, whatever the hell the score was. There's a little bit, like I say, with other teams. I mean, it's Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, and that's all there is to talk about on offense. And, of course, the offense is not overly creative or good. And then they can't run the ball. Defensively, they're small. They're missing their 2 best players. They're missing one of their good corners. This is, I think they're like hang around 500 and have some say in the NFC, but are never really a threat for us to think they're dangerous in the playoff picture or anything like that.
I think you were right about Spencer Rattler last week. We said, hey, is he going to come in? Is he going to take over the Saints team? And first half, second quarter in particular, like, whoa, this Spencer Rattler, look, he may upset Baker Mayfield. And then the second half came along, and he was Spencer Rattler again, and that was that.
Well, yeah, it's just the Saints in general. I don't want to – it wasn't about Spencer Rattler. The Saints are – I mean, you talk about being oppressive in the first 2 weeks and then getting banged up and falling apart quicker than any team I've ever seen. That would be the Saints. I mean, wow. And again, they're going to get blown out. 27 points in the second quarter, and I think you got to put it into perspective. They returned a punt, and Baker Mayfield threw an interception 2 out of 3 plays. That's the only reason they really scored or put up the points. Now, I will say, I think Spencer Rattler looked physically better than I expected him to. His arm was a little stronger than I thought. He made a few plays. It wasn't a bad look, but man, I don't expect them to beat Denver Broncos tonight, right? We're doing this Thursday afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't expect that with the 2 receivers out, the injuries on the O-line. Sean Payton, we know he'll be motivated to come back to town and show his old team who the king is, all of that. I mean, I could see the Broncos defense scoring a touchdown tonight, certainly. The Saints look like they're on the verge of falling apart, really.
Yeah. Does anyone love to stroll into town to show them that, he's the king more so than Sean Payton? I mean,
exactly right. I mean, Sean Payton. Like, it was the Jets game a few weeks ago, right? He was saying, I had those issues last year. I'm going to make a point. We're going to win this game this time. Yeah, he loves that stuff. He'll probably have an extra trick play in the bag. It's Drew Brees night tonight in that game. He's going to want to be like, let's give Drew some applause. And then I'll also show you why, I was awesome with the other team and with Drew Brees. So
that is such a you to Sean Payton.
Yeah, when is Sean Payton night?
When he comes back.
It's like, I don't know if it's a total you. I think it also is like, hey, you guys did special things together, and let's do this on the night you're here in town too.
Right.
I can take it both ways.
It's going to be interesting if Peyton gets a night, if Brees shows up to his night. Okay. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
There are so many great games this weekend, Chris. Lions, Vikings. So I'm just going to throw out some games to you, and you give us some thoughts here. Okay. Packers. Texans, Packers to me is super intriguing. Jordan Love looks so good, man.
Definitely. The Packers are really good. They're just a young team. I think I said that to you last week, but I have no doubt that they're one of the most talented teams in football. Houston, of course, same kind of thing.
So good.
Now, what I'll say about Houston is they haven't really played a great game the whole year.
I know.
Right? Let the Patriots kind of hang around for a while last week, right? That Jacksonville, they were kind of outplayed, but they found a way to win the game. That was like, again, Trevor Lawrence sucks when Billy said all that and all that kind of stuff. Like, if he hit the broadside of the barn, the Jaguars are going to win that game. Mm-hmm. The Bills game, they dominate the first half. They're non-existent in the second half, right? The Minnesota Viking game, they got blown out. So I know they're good. I'm certainly not trying to say that, but I don't think they've played their best football yet. And going up to Green Bay and an offense that I think can move the ball on this Texans defense, one of the best running offenses in football. Jordan Love, like you said, baller, receivers, baller, scheme, baller. I like everything about them. Now, I think Houston will move the ball in that Green Bay defense a little bit, but Green Bay's got some players on that side. I like Green Bay to win that one at home in a close one.
It's going to be a great game. You brought up Trevor Lawrence. Is he good?
I mean, he's solid right now. That's all. That's about it.
Okay.
But he better be good this week if they want to beat the Patriots and save Doug Peterson's job. That's for sure. I really feel like Doug Peterson probably would have been fired last week if they weren't staying in London back-to-back weeks. So We'll see if they can salvage it. I expect them to beat the Patriots. I do. They're more talented and they're desperate.
I'm not certain the Lions aren't the best team in the NFL. They lost Aiden Hutchinson last week. That was gruesome to watch. It was terrible to watch. But they play the Vikings this week. What are your thoughts here?
I like them. I'm going to take them to beat the Vikings.
I agree. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring football game. I do. The Vikings can stop the run, but they don't stop the pass all that well. The Lions do whatever they want on offense, and they got it rolling right now. And I think they're a team that's hot and feeling it on run game, pass game, all that disguise stuff where the Vikings put everybody at the line of scrimmage. Man, I'd be a little scared to do that with the Lions. One, we know it's a really good coach who will have some creative ideas. You get everybody down there at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes you don't get back where you need to get back to when it comes to the getting back into zone coverage and the drop back pass game, or the Lions do a play action fake and all those people at the line of scrimmage stay up towards the line of scrimmage a little longer than they should, and Jamison Williams or Amon-Ra St. Browns are going down the field. I like the Lions in a shootout. It stinks they lost Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think it really matters against most of the NFL, and I don't mean to say that lightly. Aiden Hutchinson's awesome, one of the defensive players of the year. But where I think like they're so good, like you said, Stugotz, they're going to beat most teams. Where I worry about it is like the upper tier teams of football. Oh, we're playing the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and now we got to blitz Lamar because we can't get there with our front four. Or we're in the NFC Championship game, right, against the 49ers or whatever, and we can't get to the quarterback unless we blitz, and now we're compromising the back end. To me, it's against the top-tier teams in football where they're going to really miss Aiden Hutchinson.
The 49ers-Chiefs game late is just a beauty. It really is. It's such a good game. I love Patrick Mahomes. Like every team, Chris, is making all these moves, getting this wide receiver, getting that wide receiver. And they ask Patrick, and he's like, "No, I'm good. We're good. We're fine." I am super intrigued by this game. The Chiefs don't need it. They're laughing at the rest of the league, 5-0, coming off a bye week. Everyone's making moves. The Niners, I feel like, really need this game. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, they do. I mean, again, the Niners, 3-3, the best 3-3 team in football, have a lot of things where you look at them and go, man, that's good. The Chiefs, hey, they're an underdog. Mahomes rarely loses an underdog. Andy Reid rarely loses on a bye week. They got all that going. Shanahan's never beat Andy Reid. Shanahan has not beat Spagnuolo, Flores, or Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinators, right? So there's some things there that definitely sway in the Chiefs' favor. So, Spags is one of those D coordinators that can match wits with Shanahan. And he can come up with new creative things that Shanahan hasn't been prepared for, or he can't get him into like, hey, I've cracked the code. When I get in this formation or do this, I know what defense they're going to play. Guys like Spags, he's just as smart. He finds new ways to attack and be creative and do all that stuff. So, I find that interesting. Now, what I will say, it stinks that Jordan Mason's not there because he's awesome.
Yep.
McCaffrey, I don't think he's playing, but he's getting close to being back healthy. Mm-hmm. Their offense is good in San Francisco. And Brock Purdy, I will tell you,
he's good,
I think he's playing better than last year when they played in the Super Bowl or the year before when the Chiefs beat them in the regular season. Brock Purdy is playing high-level football right now. He is making plays on his own. But this Chiefs defense we know is awesome. The other side is where I look at it to be interesting. The 49ers defense is not what we know it to be, Stugotz. Nick Bosa's a stud on the front D-line. That's about it. Javon Hargrave's hurt, right? Dre Greenlaw's not healthy yet from Super Bowl Achilles. Hufunga's out. Charvarius Ward's not playing great. The defense is the problem in San Francisco right now. And even though this Chiefs offense is not awesome, yeah, I like the Chiefs to win this game because of the things I said and the fact that I do think this Chiefs offense will be able to move the ball enough against this 49ers defense.
This is very exciting. Spags. Spags is here, 4-time Super Bowl champion. He is in town. He has strolled into town 5-0 on a bye week. The Kansas City Chiefs. Spags, I've been saying on the show, and Billy's been laughing at me that you should be the MVP of the NFL.
No, I don't know about that.
A lot of people are saying that's
going a little too far. It's called really good players and good assistant coaches. That's what that is.
That's what the buzz is about in the league. I don't know how much media you consume, Spags, but everybody's saying the defense is carrying the Chiefs this season.
Yeah,
I tell you, look at it. It's a nice compliment, and I think it's good for our guys to hear that defensively, but when you got Patrick Mahomes, you're never out of a game. and let's face it, I mean, these games are all tight.
Yes.
I mean, the ones we're in tight, it seems like every week, every game is tight. And our guys have so much confidence in him.
Right.
I think it helps us play a lot better. So it all begins with Patrick and the offense, and they keep it rolling. And our guys like being a part of what they do, keep us in the games and keep swinging away.
He's being humble, Billy.
He definitely is being humble here.
He is. What makes Patrick different? Like, you've been around football your entire life, so you've been around quarterbacks your entire life. What makes this one different?
Well, I'm one that values football intelligence greatly, and Pat is off the charts smart.
Yeah.
And he's also a lead, like he gets it. He can relate to every player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't make it about him. I mean, he loves to win. He knows it's a team that wins and not just one position. I love being around him. I'll walk into the quarterback meeting room, and if I'm thinking about putting something in or doing something defensively, sometimes I'll run it by Pat and say, what do you think? Will this do anything? Or I'll go to him when we're in practice. We're in training camp.
What a barometer, by the way.
Yeah, Pat, what are you seeing that we're giving away? And he's terrific. He's great.
Wow. He could be a defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, someday he will be.
What do you mean someday he will be?
He'll do whatever he wants.
I don't think he's going to want to be a defensive coordinator. I think he's going to be fine when he retires.
I think Spags is doing just fine as a DC.
Yeah.
You know?
I take all the help I can get, man. I use any resource possible.
The defense has been fantastic. Chris Jones is such an amazing. I've never seen maybe Reggie White. Is that a fair comparison?
Yeah, listen, Reggie was big time, but Chris, listen, he changes things for us defensively. Like people have to do things differently when he's on the field, and then we can counteract with that, which is kind of a good thing. And he faces a lot of double teams. We go through that every game.
Right.
People slide into him and take him away, but he finds a way to make a big play at the right moment, and you need that in this league. Like I say, these games are all tight. Our games are always tight, and having him at the end of the game is helpful.
When is the perfect time? You were very happy when we were exchanging texts last week that you had arrived at the bye week because you get some time with the wife and get some time to come down here. What is the perfect time for a bye week?
I don't know if there's a perfect time. I mean, it's always good.
5-0 feels like a good time.
Coming off of any win is a good week.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was kind of unique this year that we had the bye week coming off of Monday night, which is kind of good because when you play on a Monday night, it's a tight squeeze to play on Sunday again. So that was good, and it's always good to win. But listen, ideally, you say right in the middle of the season. But the way I look at it is, we went to training camp like July 16th, so this might be halfway between whatever stretch we're going to have. So we just got to get refreshed and get ready to roll, and then it'll be a 12-week grind, and hopefully longer. Me
and Billy went to the season opener at Kansas City. Yeah. My first time there, Billy's first time there. We had
some barbecue.
We did. We had barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Spags, they love football more than we do. The fans of the awesome. Kansas City Chiefs love football in a way that Miami will never love football.
It's a passion. The fan base is it's terrific. I mean, they love their Chiefs. I mean, win, lose, or draw. That's what you learn there, which is different than a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And in Arrowhead, it's rocking on game day.
How do you coach against, I guess, complacency, right? Like you're going for a three-peat. Obviously, that's a motivating factor. There's never been a three-peat in the NFL, but it's easy to kind of get complacent, I guess, right? When you've been successful for so long, right? Mm-hmm. And then we see last year, you guys earlier in the season, people were saying, "Hey, something might be a little bit off in Kansas City," right? And then you go on a run in the
playoffs.
Was
me, by the way. That was the one who said it.
No, you end up winning the Super Bowl,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So how do you coach against just, I guess, guys getting bored with the success, if that's even a thing?
Yeah. Listen, in anything, and this is quite a challenge. We don't even talk about 3P. We're game to game. I mean, that's just how you have to do it. But
no one has ever uttered those words.
Yeah,
after the Super Bowl, you guys are screaming 3P. So
I think they're smart enough not to
in the moment.
Yeah. Right. But it all begins at the top. Like, listen, Andy is a rock. Win, lose, or draw, up, down, doing well, not doing well, winning Super Bowls, not winning Super Bowls. He's so steady and so consistent. And I think everybody feeds off of that, beginning with the quarterback and all the coaches, because Patrick gets it. And I think our guys have we got enough veteran leadership, mixed in with a bunch of young guys that I think that they understand it. And it is a 1 week at a time business. I mean, you're only as good as your last game. Right. Fortunately for us in our bye week, it had to be a win. But I think we stay steady. That Andy is all about process. He doesn't change much. Things stay consistent, whether we're up or whether we're down. And I think that resonates throughout the team. I think that's the key in my opinion.
Billy, that week-to-week thing is real. I was texting him after week 3 saying you're the MVP, and he's like, hey, we're just 3-0. Like,
he got a long way to go.
He barked back at me, Spags. He got very mad at me.
Trust me, I've been in it long enough to know.
Spags, we have a guy here named Taylor who you met just before we were recording.
The Carolina kid,
Yeah, and he has gone around the office quite often and just uttered to himself, no one draws up a blitz like Spags. Just we'll say no. We're talking about anything else. Like, no one draws up a blitz.
I didn't teach Taylor well enough because what I say is no one dials up a blitz.
Yeah,
better than Spags. No one does.
So how do you know? I guess for the fans of yours like Taylor, how do you know the perfect time to dial up the blitz?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows it. Listen,
it's just by feel, right?
Well,
Spags?
The perfect blitz is when the guys that you call it into execute it the right way.
Right.
I mean, listen, there are a number of times when we call them and it doesn't come out exactly like we want, or they pick it up. the ones are nice when they come through in our ideal time. That's good. I tell you what, I give our guys a lot of credit. We spend a lot of time with these. Nowadays, football's become a lot of walkthroughs.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't do real football during the week anymore.
You hate that, don't you?
I do.
I know.
But
you're old school. It's okay, Spags.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Right.
But our guys do a really good job in staying into tune to when we do these walkthroughs, and I think that carries into the game. And a lot of times when we put something together, it's going to require that our guys execute it the right way.
Sure.
And our guys to a T do that. So it's I credit those guys on that.
Did you ever think you'd be here when you were coaching the Barcelona Dragons?
Like here in our studio? Or?
Yeah, right here in the studio.
Billy, what a great memory to bring back. I'll tell you what, that NFL Europe was one of the more fun experience I had as a coach. So I was in Barcelona for the 1 year in
right.
92, I think, years of running together. And then 98, I went back to NFL Europe with the Frankfurt Galaxy. And that was a great experience. I thought the players when in that league, they were all playing for something. They were all either probably cut by an NFL team. And so they had this apple and nugget they wanted. So you had an eager group all the time.
Sure.
In every meeting, in every game, they were willing to work. And that was really neat to work with. I was coming, when I went there in 92, I think I was coming out of college. And, college you were dealing with players that were going to school, and you had to work around academic schedules. Anyway, I went in NFL Europe, and these guys are eager to play, and it was all football. I mean, I just loved it. Right. That was great.
Do they like the NFL in Europe? Because we see now we're in the midst of the European section of the NFL season, right, where they have all the games abroad, and you coach there. But when you watch it, you're kind of like, well, these are just fans of the teams that want to go to Europe, so they're going to root on their teams in Europe because they get a European vacation out of it, right? Did you sense when you were there that there was a yearning for NFL football?
We did. I mean, our players did.
Right.
Our players were talking about it because they were out and about a little bit. But I do think the European fans, especially in Germany, for whatever reason, it was explained to me at one time that because we had USA bases in Germany for a long time, and then there was some football that was developed at lower levels, that it became a little bit more popular there, and that's probably true. But in the experiences that I've had in the international games, I think the fans have been terrific. And I'd have to check, but I think most of them are European fans that go into the game.
You guys played in Frankfurt last
We did.
Dolphins.
Yeah. I had to explain to...
it's a homecoming for Spags.
Yeah, I was in that same stadium. But I had to explain to the players when we played in that game a year ago that when you hear whistling, right, that doesn't mean that they're happy. That means that's bad. Like you boo here.
Wow,
so we had to educate them.
Right.
I told them.
So wait, they whistle when they're upset. They whistle. Some of them do.
This is what I remember. When I think it might be a soccer thing, but I was back there in 92 and 98. I remember somebody saying to me, "Now, Steve, when the fans start whistling, don't think they'll like what you're doing. That means they're upset." So that was my little mini education about European fans.
When did you know you wanted to be a football coach? Like, when did you realize that?
Yeah, and I know it was back in the 8th grade. I had a friend of mine that went to a basketball camp at Springfield College. Springfield College,
yes,
in
of
Western
course.
Mass.
Yep.
Was a big phys ed school.
Right.
It was like one of the #1 phys ed schools in the country at the time. And he had come back ranting and raving about this.
Billy's
school.
laughing that there was a big phys ed
I was just laughing. Our school's great at PE.
Yeah. Well, at that time,
exactly what you brag about.
it was big, but it was big then. Like this is back in
Yes,
this is
yes.
mid-70s.
He's a youngster, Spags.
Yeah, he
so,
doesn't.
right.
Really understand that. That was a big thing. But he came back.
Gym was a big thing. Phys ed was a big thing.
That's right.
Yes.
That was you. If you were going to go be a phys ed teacher, that was a big thing.
Yes.
So anyway, he kind of lit it up in my mind. I said, "Yeah, I want to do that." And then I just had this vision of going to Springfield College, becoming a phys ed teacher, coming back and teaching at my high school and doing what because my high school coach I loved, and I wanted to do that. And along the way, when I got
failed.
there, no, I failed at that.
Yeah, you failed. Like Greg Popovich.
I didn't make it back to Grafton High School.
You had too much success.
Pop tells a story that he always dreamed of being a Division III basketball coach. We're like, okay, Greg Popovich,
Right,
you're an
mess
NBA
that up.
champion.
Go
Like,
do it then.
Exactly right.
There is something. I'm guessing though. There is something cathartic. Like the thought of Spags going back to coach at a high school level probably gets him excited, right? Like there's no pressure. You just go coach.
Go coach.
Yes.
Kids are eager. It's fun. I always thought that the best way to test your teaching skills was to go coach 12-year-olds because what you say is exactly what they hear. And if you're not explaining it exactly the way you want it done, it doesn't come out right.
Right.
And every summer when I was coaching in college, I'd go work these camps up in Connecticut. And I'd always work. You could work with the high school kids or you could work with the young ones. I always worked with the young ones because I thought it challenged me to say things exactly the way I meant them. Like
Sure.
when you're dealing with these pro players, you only got to say half of it. They understand what you're trying to say.
Right.
But when you're talking to young kids,
So it tests your communication skills.
yeah, it does.
Yes.
It really does.
That's interesting. What do you think you'd be doing? Would you still be a gym teacher if you weren't coaching? If you weren't the D coordinator for the Chiefs?
I'm going to tell you what. I'm looking at in your studio here. And I'm looking at that hockey. You got some hockey highlights on there.
Yeah.
I loved hockey.
Really?
I was a huge Bobby Orr fan growing up in.
You're in Hockey
Central
Town
Mass.
now,
Loved it.
Spags.
I know. I loved the Boston Bruins growing up. Big Bag Bruins back in the early '70s, and I would have loved to have coached hockey. Here's the thing about coaching hockey. This is the way I felt. Like when I'm coaching these guys, the only thing I can really do, and my shoulder's gone now, is throw ball drills, right? To be involved in the game. When you're a hockey coach, you can go out there and skate with them.
Yep.
You can pass. You can shoot on the goalie. Like you could be a kid forever.
Yes.
And so I always thought coaching hockey would be pretty cool.
That'd be more fun because you play hockey every day.
Yeah, exactly. I think you'd be playing. You'd be like one of the players. The whole
Wait,
time.
so as a fan of you're from the Boston area, yeah. So as a fan, I'm assuming of all the Boston teams, is it driving you crazy to watch the Yankees going into the ALCS right now?
Actually, being in New York for a couple of years, listen. I'm an odd Boston Red Sox fan because if the Red Sox are not in, I do root for the Yankees. I like the Yankees. Well,
Spags, be careful.
I know, but that's all right. Listen, they're in it now, and I love watching them play. Listen, I wasn't happy that they beat the Royals. I was really pulling for the Royals. That's a great group over there. Matt, the manager, is terrific. And we were really for the city. Mm-hmm. It was great for the city to have those games there. I would have liked for that to continue. But listen, I appreciate good baseball and playoff baseball, and the Yankees are playing really good now. So I'll continue to watch it just because I enjoy the game.
I could see Spags as a hockey coach. Actually.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
I'm sorry.
Banging on the boards.
Hockey coach.
Wait, so you hate the Panthers, right, Spags? You have to.
I'm not a hater of anybody. They did just beat the Bruins the other day, didn't they?
I know, yeah. And the whole playoff thing last year.
That's right. That was a tough one. That's all right.
I think of this Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
from the Edmonton Oilers. We think that he's over. They're basically saying he's like the Michael Jordan of hockey.
Well, Spags
I remember him in the
playoffs
last year.
Yeah, he stands out.
Because he was playing down. Did they play? They played here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a nephew that's a big Panthers fan, but I was in awe of the way that guy played.
Yeah,
he's terrific.
Were you excited when Tatum finally got his championship?
I was excited for the Celtics.
Don't tell me you like the Knicks too. You can't do that, Spags.
I don't. I really didn't get. When I was in New York, I didn't get to too many Knicks games. Maybe one, but I grew up a Celtics fan, so it was, Dave Cowens, Larry Bird, all of them. I thought it was so. It was good to see them win that.
I've always wondered if there's a player, an offensive player, or an offensive coordinator that keeps someone like you up at night. Like if you have a game against them the next day, whether it be Joe Burrow or some coordinator, is there a guy that Joe Burrow's a guy?
That's one.
You're not sleeping the night before?
No, listen, these quarterbacks, there's a bunch of quarterbacks nowadays. I always feel like the talented, cerebral quarterbacks are the tough ones. The guys that'll change things in an instant at the line.
Sure.
Are the guys that are scariest. And Joe's obviously one of them. Our guy we go against every day is at the top of the heap there. But yeah, the challenge of going, the game within the game of Mike linebacker, through the defensive coordinator and the quarterback through the offensive coordinator is a neat game to be involved with, play in and play out. And I enjoy that part of it. So when we're facing a team that has a real cerebral quarterback, to me that's the biggest challenge. But it does keep you up at night because you know that they can get you. These guys that work the cadence and change the calls and get you to show what you're doing and then get into something good, they're tough.
Which do you think would be an easier transition to make? This might be a dumb question, but you said Patrick would be a great defensive coordinator because he's so great at reading defenses. Yeah. How do you think you'd do as an offensive coordinator?
I started out on offense.
Wait, is Patrick his quarterback?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
It all depends on who the quarterback is.
Okay, how about this? How about this situation? Patrick becomes a defensive coordinator, and you have to scheme the offense against Patrick.
His defense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to do that against him. He's too sharp. But listen, I started out in this game on offense. I was a high school quarterback, and then I was a college wide receiver, and I coached 3 years on offense. And I forget what year it was, like in 83 or 84. I was at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania.
Of course.
Great head coach, Bill Russo. we had lost our D-line coach, and he said, "I'd like you to go over and coach the D-line." And I was fired up. I got to coach these big guys. It was great. For 3 years, I had this young group of defensive linemen at Lafayette College, and then from there, I just stayed on defense for the rest of the time. And I guess it was a pretty good move.
Were you?
Although coaching those quarterbacks gets
it worked
pretty
out
cool
for you.
too.
Yeah,
if you get the right one.
Everything's worked out well for you.
I guess, yeah.
I think. I know you had a stint as a head coach, and I think we discussed this the first time we had you on. That is something, I'm not trying to create any sort of rift here. I know you love Andy and you love your job. And in fact, I told you I would stay in that job for the remainder of time because you have that quarterback.
Yeah.
But is head coaching something you would like to try again?
Listen, I get asked this question a lot. Sure, have to be the right situation because I'm in a great situation.
Yes,
I think in this profession, young coaches in this profession, they jump at the first thing. I certainly did that when I had my first chance, and I think the next time you kind of, if you're sitting in a really good situation, you consider it a little bit differently. But listen, that eagerness is there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you also are in a situation where maybe if you sit long enough, then this situation becomes available.
Yeah, I like working for Andy. He's a good man.
So we have Andy leaving this quarterback. I don't think Andy's leaving this quarterback.
No,
right.
If you were Andy, would you?
No, I would not leave this. Well, I blasted Andy when he benched Alex Smith for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
That take hasn't aged well. No, it hasn't.
Did you burn that tape?
No, Dan plays it back just about every single day.
He's tried.
Yeah, okay.
So he can throw it in my face. Were you laughing like the first 2 weeks of the season when people were saying, Kelsey, he's done, he's not focused? And I warned Travis that stuff was coming. Were you worried about that? Were you laughing at that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hear it. I don't feel like I don't feel that. I'm not. Listen, I'm not flipping through the phone trying to figure all that stuff out. So I wasn't aware of it. Every once in a while you might hear something, but we don't worry about Travis.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Listen, Travis is there's some guys in all of these professional sports that when you're going to need them the most, they're going to show up.
Yes.
And that's Travis.
And he's there.
Yeah.
That lateral play, though, is that something that's worked on every single day?
I think I don't normally see. He does it.
He's always looking.
He plays around with it in practice.
Yes.
You'll see him do it all the time. It's not like it hasn't been rehearsed before.
Right.
And I don't think it shocks his teammates when he's looking to do that. But the thing about that is you have to have extreme self-confidence, and that's what Travis has to do something like that. And fortunately for us, it worked.
Well, you also have to beat Travis Kelce, right? Yeah. Like Xavier Worthy does that first year. You're like, let's hold on to that ball a little bit.
Yeah, you might want to be careful.
You got to win a little bit first. Yeah.
What does a bye week look like for you? Because I imagine that as a coach, you don't have a ton of free time, right? So like when you have a week off, are you like fighting yourself to not get back to work, or are you able to just disconnect completely?
No, what are we today? Friday. So Wednesday to Friday, what'll happen now is by the time I wake up tomorrow, it'll be, okay.
49ers mode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, into next week.
Well, and I was watching them last night.
Of course you were.
Help but watch and think, and looking for certain things. But I tried to stay away from writing anything down while I was having dinner over at I think we were over at Smith and Lewinsky's. And I got to be careful. I can't do it. I'm trying to spend time with my wife.
Wait, so you're at dinner, Smith and Lewinsky's with your wife. You're watching the game, and you're thinking about pulling out a pen and a pad and taking notes?
I had to be careful. And it was great. They were great over there, those two guys, because the Royals were playing the Yankees, and I wanted to watch both, so I had one TV with the San Francisco game, one TV with the baseball game. I was in heaven.
Your wife was
no, she was great. She's great. Thank God I got a good wife.
Good wife, happy life.
Yeah,
Spags.
exactly.
Oh, man, it's so great. Your relationship with Andy Reid, what makes that? He's such a great. It's funny how it flipped in Philadelphia. He couldn't win the big game, and now he's the guy who all he does is win big games. Yeah. I'm more interested in your relationship with him because he seems, and he's been on with me and Billy and Mike Golick a bunch of times on this show, but he just seems like such a fundamentally decent person.
To the core.
Yeah.
One of the best people, the highest character people you're ever going to meet. And he's just, again, I go back to how consistent, how rock solid he is. I mean, listen, Andy's been through some rough times like we all have. And yet he's always steady. He's always the same guy.
Right.
I think that attribute is huge in a person. I mean, nobody likes to be around moody people or you don't know what you're getting. And with Andy, he's just so steady. And I think people rely on him for a lot of things around the building, outside the building. I mean, you can't even imagine how many people in the business, outside the business, that call Andy for advice. You know, what do you think? And when I left and went to the Giants and I was in St. Louis, I was always calling Andy on the phone and say, what are you going to do about this? And because he's that kind of guy.
And he's always there to pick up.
Always.
Yeah. Is that common with other coaches?
In a lot of ways, yes. But Andy's unique in that he's been doing it for so long. And he's just got this unique way about him in terms of never being rattled and seeing things. You know, he can sit back and see big picture better than anybody I know.
Do you have a team that gives you more trouble than others?
The Bengals, I think.
The Bengals have been tough. Yeah, that's a good football team. I mean, they're all tough. Listen, everybody plays us tough. I mean,
you get everyone's best shot.
I think so.
Yes.
And to the other team's credit, and it's a challenge for us. Our guys to this point have done a good job with it. But we got a long way to go. It's this season. You know, there's going to be ups and downs in every season. We've been fortunate in the 5 games we've played, but when it does get rough, we got to get rougher. You know, and step up. We'll see what happens.
The last 2 years, I've questioned whether or not your team is going to win the Super Bowl, and you have won the Super Bowl both those years. Would you like me to start doing that again? I mean,
if whatever you did the last 2 years, do the same.
I said something's off in Kansas City. They're not right. They're the team I would want to face in the playoffs. I said that before the playoffs last year, and then you guys went on an historic run because Patrick woke up one day and told his wife, "Hey, I feel like winning the Super Bowl." I mean, it's ridiculous that he can do that.
Yeah, let's keep. I want you to stay consistent, Stu. Guys, don't change.
Okay, all right. The Chiefs. There's something off.
There you go.
There's something off in Kansas City. Quickly, and we appreciate the time. What was the order at Smith and Walensky's last night?
What do we have? They have a great burger there. I think we got a.
You want burger? Huh?
Yeah, we did because it's good. I don't usually get a burger, but they have.
You're in Kansas City.
I know.
Spags.
I know, but I
okay.
Stay away from that. I get the high cholesterol. I got all kinds of issues I got to deal with.
He's in great shape, Billy. Is he not? Look at him.
Stay away from it. But it was great. William, the bartender, is a good friend of ours. He's great.
Yeah,
and we walk right over this. Listen, this area is terrific. We love coming down.
Yeah,
we'll be here at some point. You know, when we get done with when my wife makes
like the rest of us, you're retired down here.
Exactly.
Maybe it gets too cold in Kansas City. Come coach down here.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Kansas City's like 70 degrees right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but the winters are brutal. Yeah. You don't want to be there in the winter.
Yeah.
It's like negative 30 in your first playoff game last year.
I'll tell you what, that was tough.
Yeah,
and I had been in that championship game we played with the Giants against the Green Bay. In Green Bay was cold.
Yeah,
but that
was that the one where Coughlin lost his mind?
Yeah. Well, he was really red.
The kicker,
his face was going to fall off.
That was a great day, but it was cold.
How do you stay warm on the sideline? Because the players, once they go out there, the adrenaline's rushing. They can stay warm.
Now we got the heaters over there. I mean, now they do a good job with stuff on the sideline, but they bundle up, man. I was cold. I don't normally wear a stocking hat, but I had to wear one for that game because those ears.
Tua said it's the coldest weather he's ever like. But obviously he's from Hawaii. He plays in Miami. Like
who's that?
Tua said he never wants to go back there again.
Yeah,
it was cold that day. Yeah. It was cold for everybody. I mean, it was hard for all I guess.
Are you surprised that Belichick is not coaching? Right, like no team wanted Bill Belichick in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, look at best coach ever in the history of football, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if he wants to do it again, he'll have his opportunities. But a lot of respect for him.
So if you want to, and we'll leave you on this note, I want you to get back to your wife. Because I'm sensing she might want you back here.
A little time.
Yeah, right, a little time. But before you retire down in Florida, there's a stop you have to make. You know this, right? So I'm just thinking like most people go New York and then they move down to Florida. And so, feel free to stop in New York if you, after the season, because there's a head coaching vacancy there.
Yeah, we're going to worry about the Chiefs right now.
You want him to go up to New York and then come down to Florida?
I want Spags to be the head coach at New York.
Yeah,
spend some time in New York.
Because
you can't move to Florida until.
But if you actually liked and cared about Spags,
I would tell him to never take that job.
Exactly right.
Spags, take the job, please. I love you.
You guys are beautiful.
He doesn't want to comment on someone else's job. No. He won't do it.
Good move.
He's a man of honor. He won't do that. You don't talk about someone else's job. Spags, we appreciate it. 5-0. I would say that you guys are going to go undefeated this year. But that would go against what I've said the last 2 years.
Yeah,
so I'm going to say, hey, I think something's off in Kansas City.
Okay,
Spags. Say it with me.
I would have been. No, that's your. I got to let you say your words. You say your words.
We appreciate it.
You can't get me to do that. You guys are the best. Thank you.
All right, get back to your wife. It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, week number 8. It is flying by. 6-4 a week ago. 35-25-1 on the season. Here we go. I got a ton of games. BYU minus 8.5, taking on Oklahoma State. Buy it down to 8. No one, and I mean no one, goes into Provo and walks out alive. Oklahoma State will be no different. BYU wins. They cover. The Cougars win by 14 points at home. Miami, minus 5, taking on Louisville. Miami wins and covers the Canes by 10 points on the road. Missouri, taking on Auburn, minus 4 at home. Take the Tigers. Missouri wins, and they cover. They win by 8 points at home. Arizona State, plus 5. They're headed to Cincinnati. Arizona State, they are a sneaky good football team. They're getting 5 points. They're going to win the game outright. How about that? Arizona State wins. They cover. Arizona State by 3 points on the road. Oklahoma, minus 1.5, taking on South Carolina. I have the Sooners winning the game and covering. They win by 4 points at home. Big game. Alabama, minus 3 at Tennessee. Alabama, a 3-point favorite. They're done losing. You heard me. They're not losing again. Buy it down to 2.5. Alabama wins, and they cover. Alabama by 10 points on the road. Texas Tech, minus 6.5, taking on Baylor. Buy it down to 6. Take Texas Tech. The Red Raiders win by 14 points at home. Texas, the biggest game of the year. They're taking on Georgia. It is minus 5. Texas wins, and they cover. Texas wins by 21 points. It's a blowout. You heard it here first. Iowa State, minus 13, taking on UCF. Iowa State, sneaky good playoff team. They win, they cover. They win by 21 points at home. North Texas, plus 10 at Memphis. Buy it up to 10.5. Memphis wins. North Texas covers. I'm an expert on both teams. Memphis by 4 points over North Texas. I'm taking North Texas. And finally, the Gators, plus 2, taking on Kentucky. I have Florida covering and winning the game outright. The Gators by 4 points over Kentucky. NFL, week 6, 6-1 a week ago. I am on a heater right now. 28-17-1 on the season. Falcons minus 2.5. They're taking on the Seahawks. I'm taking Atlanta here. Atlanta wins, and they cover the Falcons by 14 points at home. Bills at home taking on the Titans, minus 9. I'm taking Buffalo here to win and cover. Buffalo by 17 points over the Tennessee Titans. Detroit Lions at Minnesota. What a big game. Lions getting 2 points. You don't need them. They're going to win the game outright. Lions beat Minnesota. Hand them their first loss of the season. The Lions by 7 points. Eagles minus 3 at the Giants. I believe in Nick Sirianni. I do. I have no idea why, but I do. The Eagles win. They cover. The Eagles buy it down to 2.5, by the way. The Eagles win by 10 points on the road. Packers taking on the Texans. This is a big game. Texans are 3-point underdogs. I'm taking the Pack here. Jordan Love, good. The Packers are always good. The Packers have been good my entire life. I hate them, but they're going to win and cover, and I'm going to love them this weekend. The Packers by 10 points over the Texans at home. And finally, Chiefs, Niners, Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan. One guy has won everything. The other guy has won nothing. I am taking the guy who has won everything. The Chiefs win the game. They're getting 2 points. The Chiefs go to 6-0. And on Monday, we'll all say to ourselves, are they any good? Yeah, they're good. They're 6-0. Chiefs win the game by 10 points against San Francisco. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.